His mood changed and our marriage imploded. Then he took a blood. We were headed from LA to Paris to attempt a marriage reset. For the past year, my husband had a conference near the Arc de Triomphe, a monument famous for victory marches, so we scraped together frequent flyer miles so I could tag along for a few impractical days. As our first flight, we were wheels down in Chicago with plenty of time before our connecting flight. But with no gate of it, all the resentments and anger we were trying to cast aside exploded in a revival of blame. We blamed each other. On my flight home, I thought about how my husband's personality had evaporated over the past year. Some nights, when he returned from Paris, we talked about the state of our union. The conversation, we tried marriage counseling. At times it buoyed up, things felt dark. My mother asked, outside of our marital coursework, I scheduled overdue physicals for us. He told me a routine blood test showed so much calcium in my husband's blood that his doctor assumed it was an error. After more tests, my husband's endocrinologist recommended surgery. He assured her that symptoms of hyperparathyroidism can include headaches, bone fractures and kidney stones, as well as depression, fatigue, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. The annals of home from surgery, with his stitched neck still covered in a bandage, he perked up and did a little dance in the bathroom. I was taken aback. He was amazed by how much easier his life had become. He said he felt, as things returned to normal, the pressure to stay happy nagged at me. When a disagreement, it's been 8 months since the surgery, and the lightness and laughter between us remains. I still wonder about, but maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe he feels
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.